Hey guys, how goes it? Welcome to my review of the Coke Zero Sugar 400, which concluded yesterday, but I haven't been getting to doing the reviews right on the day that they were doing it, so because I've been all jacked up with other shit lately. I'm not gonna say why, but this does goes without saying, this race was rather not great, not terrible. Sorry, I've been displaying too much of my Chernobyl-holicism, but nonetheless, I am glad that things seem to be getting better with Jimmy Johnson. Of course, as soon as I am unemployed, Jimmy Johnson does better. This is why we just can't have nice things. Anytime bad shit happens to me, good stuff happens to Jimmy Johnson. And when bad stuff happens to Jimmy Johnson, good stuff happens with me. It doesn't make sense. Why does this have to be fire and ice? Doesn't that seem pretty jarring to you guys at all? Why? Of course, as soon as my life is miserable, Jimmy Johnson's season seems to be getting better and better as the races go by. Fourth last race, and then got third this race. Yeah, it was luck, but what's there to say that he wasn't planning some kind of strategy? Timing it when the rain comes. What's there to say that he and Kevin Mennington, or whatever his last name is, weren't planning some strategy to bypass Mother Nature? So yeah. Congrats to Justin Haley for his poetic justice victory after a bullshit call by NASCAR last year. His tires were on the yellow line, not below it. Not below the yellow line, on it. It was on the yellow line. Big difference. It was not like Regan Smith from 2008, where he was completely below the yellow line. Then again, I might have to rewatch the replay to refresh my thoughts. Or Denny Hamlin from the 2011 Bud Shootout. But nonetheless, Justin Haley got his poetic justice victory, and all is right in the world. So, by the way, that was a pretty decent Xfinity Series racing. NASCAR actually made some pretty good calls. Single car spins in the infield that wasn't even endangering the track or polluting the racetrack with debris. No caution. Good move on NASCAR, even though I was very upset that Justin Allgaier got screwed. But at least a good driver like Ross Chastain won. Finally, nothing abysmal fucked him out of a win. Finally, there was no fucking killjoy failure inspection or post-race inspection failure upon Ross Chastain. My bad. Sorry for my faulty grammar right there. But hey, how about Ross Chastain smashing that watermelon? I'm starting to really love Chastain. He seems like a rad dude. Initially, I wasn't very keen on him because of his very peculiar driving style in the Darlington race. But he just seems like a really cool guy. He really is. So the Xfinity race was pretty decent. Not super amazing, not super awful, just pretty decent. Same with the Cup Series race. Stage 1, there was a decent amount of lead changes here and there, but as soon as Stage 2 came around, it of course descended down into a single file cringe train. We really didn't need that talentless hack in the 3 ruining the race for Stage 3, or the first half of Stage 3. Stage 2, I meant to say, before I said Stage 3. I'm sorry. But at least things were shaken up a bit near the end of Stage 2. But hey, you know how Brad Keselowski says he's never going to lift? Well, looks like his commitment to that sentiment is falling flat on its face, as he pretty much, his front bumper completely plowed at the wall and took Daniel Suarez and a few other guys with him. So, how's that working out, Brad? I don't hate you, Brad, but you're kind of going a bit rogue there. So, can you kind of cool it down a little bit? Because your commitment, your overreaction to whatever incident that was that caused you to say that isn't working out for you very well, because your strategy pretty much fell completely flat on its face. But big oof for my buddy Dylan Young, because he had to see Brad Keselowski wreck the second consecutive time at this particular race. I'm not sure if Dylan Young ended up going to Daytona after it was rained out, though, but big oof for my buddy Dylan Young. His eyes were pretty much disgraced when he had to deal with that. But nonetheless, at least the Hendrick guys have been proliferating their performances. That doesn't make the races this year's season any better, though. This race already, even halfway, has more bad races than 2018 did in its halfway. That right there in and of itself really does speak volumes to me. Sorry, but just because Jimmy Johnson, my man, is proliferating his performances, it doesn't make the races any better. This race was, I still would say, is not great, not terrible, but still really does need some work. Because Stage 1 was pretty alright. Stage 2 was a single file cringe train, except for the last few laps. And then, of course, Austin Dillon, being his normal, practical, usual self, and completely no-talenting half the field into the damn garage. Thank you, Austin Dillon, for proving me right in the long term of why you are one of the most talentless hacks in the NASCAR field, of why you're arguably maybe even the suckiest driver on the NASCAR grid. Thank you. Thank you so much for proving my point of why you are a rich punk kid that has done nothing to deserve the full-fledged RCR number 3 car. Thank you. But at the same time, I should also, not sarcastically, thank you for also damaging a lot of the other guys I fucking hate so much, like Joey Logano, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., a little bit of Denny Hamlin, and of course Kyle Busch, even though some of those said drivers weren't completely taken out of the race due to the damage not being significant enough to warrant the garage, but you get the idea. So thank you, Austin Dillon. Thank you for proving me right of why you are such a silver spoon piece of scum that has done nothing to deserve the full-fledged RCR number 3 vehicle. When much, much, much more talented much more dedicated, much more passionate drivers like Brett Moffitt and Justin Allgaier should be driving that vehicle that you don't deserve to be driving. I almost said piloting as if he's flying. Thankfully, I caught myself right before it slipped my tongue. So yeah, Levi, if you're watching this video, I'm on the same boat as you, my buddy. I'm on the same boat as you. As soon as my life is going downhill or descending down the moldy pits, my man Jimmy Johnson, of course, proliferates his performances, even though you're not a Jimmy Johnson fan, but you and I are still in the same boat and same scenario employment-wise. I so far applied to 8 jobs, and I got nothing so far. Nothing. But I'm still going to keep my head up. I'm still going to soldier through every single solitary job that I can find on the map. Nonetheless, guys, hope you enjoyed my video. Sorry that it isn't much, other than the fact that Stage 1 was pretty fun to watch, but then it descended down to a single-file cringe train, And then got pretty interesting the last half of stage 3 until, of course, Austin Dillon has to no talent himself as if he was driving like he was on the final fucking lap and take out almost every great race car in the field that was up front or above the top 10 all race long. Thank you, Austin Dillon, for proving me right. Thank you for proving the whole NASCAR community why you are one of the most talentless hacks on the NASCAR grid. Thank you for proving me why you don't deserve that 3 vehicle. Thank you. You are a no-talented piece of shit. The only way you can win is if a legend like Jimmy Johnson runs out of fuel, which was initially it was actually credible, that victory of yours from the 2017 Coca-Cola 600. To a degree, it was actually credible, and it actually kind of took skill to save all that fuel. But once you dumped Eric Almirola at the Daytona 500 from last year, I have nothing but scorn and absolute contempt for a piece of shit like you. And what you did yesterday further proves my point against a scum fuck like you, of why you should not be driving that 3 car, and why you've done literally absolutely nothing to deserve that 3 car. You've done nothing impressive. You're not continuing a legacy. What legacy are you people talking about? He's a dumpster fire of a driver. He does not deserve to drive that 3 car. Ever. At all. He resembles nothing like Dale Earnhardt, and don't even say it's because he dumps drivers for wins. Last time I checked, Dale Earnhardt never dumped Jeff Gordon in 1999, and Dale Earnhardt didn't have to dump anyone in 1998 to win his Daytona 500. Last time I checked, Dale Earnhardt did not dump Jeff Gordon, or even tried. He only dumps people that provoke him. He only dumps people that he only generally dumps people that provoke the shit out of him. Even if he does resemble what Kyle Busch does, what Dale Earnhardt did in his days wasn't even close to the varlet, obnoxious behavior that Austin or Kyle Busch display on the track. Not even close, because Dale Earnhardt is not descending down to the baby series to wreck a bunch of young guys or old veterans trying to save their careers. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm going off on a tangent, so to avoid rambling on, I'm just going to end the video here. Space out, everyone, and have a nice day.